Constantinople, a legend at the crossroads of two worlds. In the heart of history, on the shores of the Sea of Marmara, at the meeting point of Asia and Europe, rose a legendary city that will forever live on in the memory of humankind. Constantinople. It was not merely a city but an imperial dream, a mirror of great civilizations, and a battleground of historic struggles that shaped the course of humanity. Born from the ashes of empires. The story begins in 667 BC, when Greek colonists from Megara founded a small city named Byzantium after their leader Byzas. They chose this strategic location carefully, as it allowed them to control ship movement between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean, profiting from the flow of goods. Byzantium lived for centuries under the influence of great empires, Greek and then Roman. Yet it remained a marginal city compared to the glory of Rome until Constantine the Great arrived. Constantine the Great and the rise of Constantinople. In 324 AD, after a bloody struggle for the Roman throne, Emperor Constantine I decided to establish a new capital for the Eastern Roman Empire. He chose Byzantium, not only for its location but also because it was far from the religious and political unrest of Rome and closer to the eastern borders where threats loomed. In 330 AD, Constantine proclaimed the foundation of the new city and named it Constantinople, the city of Constantine. It was not just an expansion of Byzantium but a complete reconstruction, including churches, palaces, baths, streets, and massive walls. The city became the new Rome, and soon surpassed old Rome in importance. Constantinople at the height of its glory. From the 5th to the 9th century, Constantinople became the greatest city in Europe. It was the capital of the Byzantine Empire, a name later given by historians to the Eastern Roman Empire, and a cultural, economic, and religious hub. Its triple-layered walls made it impregnable to invaders, and allowed it to stand strong for over 1,000 years. It was a major port receiving goods from India and China in the east, and from Italy and northern Europe in the west. Life in the city was diverse. The aristocracy lived in palaces near the imperial sacred palace, while markets and common neighborhoods spread around the hippodrome, the city's racetrack and social center. Markets were lively. In the Grand Forum, merchants sold spices, silk, glass, and books. Agriculture took place outside the city walls, but wheat was imported from Egypt and stored in Constantinople's granaries via the Bosphorus. Religion and culture. From the time of Constantine, the city became a center of Christianity. A vast church, the Hagia Sophia, Church of Holy Wisdom, was built and became a symbol of the city. The ecumenical patriarch of Constantinople was one of the highest-ranking religious figures in the Christian world, rivaling the Pope in Rome. But theological disputes divided the Christian world. Tensions grew between the Eastern and Western churches, culminating in the Great Schism of 1054, splitting Christianity into Eastern Orthodoxy and Roman Catholicism. Despite this, the city remained a center of learning and knowledge. Philosophy, medicine, and theology flourished. Monks in its monasteries preserved ancient books lost elsewhere in Europe. Threats and wars. Constantinople was never free from danger. It faced repeated invasions from Persians, Bulgars, Slavs, and most notably, Arab Muslims during the 7th and 8th centuries. Umayyad armies besieged the city twice. The Byzantine secret weapon, Greek fire, was a key to its survival, a flammable liquid that burned even on water and was nearly impossible to extinguish. However, in 1204, the city suffered a devastating blow not from Muslims, but from the Fourth Crusade. Instead of marching to liberate Jerusalem, the Crusaders were diverted and attacked Constantinople, looting it brutally. Churches were desecrated, relics stolen, neighborhoods destroyed, a dark chapter in its history. The fall, and signs of the end. The Byzantines regained the city after over 50 years of Latin occupation, but they never returned to their former glory. The empire shrank to just Constantinople and a few surrounding areas, while a new power rose in Anatolia, the Ottoman state. In the 15th century, Sultan Muhammad II, the conqueror, dreamed of taking Constantinople. He assembled an army of over 100,000 men and built enormous cannons to demolish the triple walls that had stood for centuries. On May 29, 1453, after a 53-day siege, the Ottomans breached the city through the small gate of Kirkoporta, either by chance or betrayal. The last Byzantine emperor, Constantine XI, died fighting on the walls. Muhammad II entered the city and famously declared, "Let Istanbul be the capital of the empire." He entered Hagia Sophia and converted it into a mosque, but granted safety to the inhabitants, allowing the city's cultural and religious diversity to endure. Daily life in Constantinople before the fall. The city's inhabitants included nobles, clergy, craftsmen, sailors, and merchants. They used the Byzantine coin, the solidus, in trade and wore garments embroidered with silk, especially the wealthy. Women wore long robes and head coverings. Education was available in churches and monasteries. Daily meals consisted of bread, olives, cheese, and vegetables. Meat and fish were luxuries enjoyed mostly by the rich on special occasions. Religious music and hymns filled the streets, especially during imperial celebrations and Christian holidays. Streets were paved with stone, and public squares were adorned with statues and fountains. Constantinople after the Byzantines. The city became Istanbul, capital of the mighty Ottoman Empire. It remained a center of knowledge, religion, and culture. But the legacy of Constantinople was never erased. It still lives on in the walls, churches, and libraries. A city that made history. Constantinople is not just a fallen city or a name that changed. It is the story of civilization, resistance, faith, and politics. A city that united East and West, Christianity and Islam, Romans and Ottomans. It is a living testament to humanity's ability to build, destroy, and be reborn. And today, in the old alleys of Istanbul, amid the echoes of Hagia Sophia and the bustle of the markets, the spirit of Constantinople still pulses through the stones and through memory. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel to stay updated. See you next time!